we're back outside. I got the bird feeder in view. Hopefully you get a little bit of excitement there. I know this lighting is harsh. If I was a real influencer, I'd have like a reflector on this side to even out the shadows and stuff like that, but we just keep it real. Today we are drinking Zambia Katishi Estate. That's what we're drinking. My first time having this one. I'm branching out, trying a bunch of different stuff and hopefully keeping track of. I'll show you this side of the mug. The other side, I'll let you see a little bit. What it is I like the texture. This is like cut in. I don't know if you can see the edge of it there, but it's kind of cut in and it's matte, where it's a little rough texture where it's white. So I just like that, and I like the matte finish here and it's white inside. It's from a coffee store that I really do not like the coffee of, but they seem to have better cups than the other places. So other than that first one I used, I don't have a lot of fancy coffee mugs. Although there's one I need to bring from work. It's pretty cool. I don't even use it there. It's in the closet. Anywho, this is how this works. If this is the first one you've seen, I have a cup of coffee. I sit here, I pick one topic, and just kind of chat about that till the coffee's gone. Versus my shave videos that just kind of meander all over the place. So today's topic is EDC, everyday carry, which for a long time I had no clue what EDC meant because I really wasn't into it. So before I get into my thoughts on that, and it's funny because I have a plan of what I might say about it, but then, you know, who knows? I'll show you. Whoop, there go my coffee. It's windy here. So I'm hoping that using the AirPods that we're not getting all the wind noise. Otherwise I'll have to shoot this thing all over again somewhere else or another day. So my everyday carry fits in one hand. This is it. My AirPods. I'm down to one of these like front pocket wallets and key to my car. I was one of those tri-fold thick wallet guys. I did a whole video on trying to find the right EDC for me. And so I pared down. So this is what goes in my front pocket every day. And then I've got two other things. I'll show you this one first because it's pretty cool. And I don't know if it counts as EDC. This is where I, in theory, keep loaded up fountain pens. Now this was before COVID. On the other side I just have a pencil. I've got some stamps up here, obviously space for more. But pre-COVID, when we had physical meetings, I actually would have books that I would take to meetings and write things in. Now everything just seems to be, you know, email me the presentation and, you know, screenshot this and that. It's kind of a bummer. Anyway, that's what that is. So I hope we get back to that because there's a good way, about the only way I'd use a lot of my fountain pens. So the other thing I have is this. It's got a little, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Watch my video. Like, I hate when people say it because you're not going to find these. I did a whole video. It took me a long time to kind of narrow down to this. Anything small that I kind of wore anywhere on my body really looked like a purse no matter what. I'll show you what's in this thing quickly because, again, I did a whole video on it. So the other cards that would make the other thing just too big for my front pocket, I have this is kind of cool if you've never seen one of these, a vanishing point fountain pen. So it's a clickable fountain pen. Yeah, pretty cool. So the point comes out of there. And then I keep over here, I've kind of done a lot of my research and mellowed out yet, but this was mainly keeping track of Scotch tasting notes. Then there's a zipper pocket right here, keep some cash in there. And then there's one more pocket that I guess would be the EDC pocket. So in here, and what do I have in here? Everybody should have this. What is this? A wooden toothpick holder. You have toothpicks with you. A really super bright, tiny little flashlight. And then I've got my Leatherman. Is it a Leatherman? It's a Gerber. Are those two different? See, I'm so bad with, I don't think it is Leatherman. I think it's Gerber. Those are two different companies, right? This one is called the Suspension. Pretty cool. So that's in there. And then back in here, I just have, I've got a charging cord from my phone, and then some white wet wipes that were left over from the last plane ride we were on, because when I go on a plane trip, making sure the flashlight's off, most of that stuff comes out, and what's in here is a small charging block, and then I bring 2 pairs of earbuds. One's the AirPods and the other one's from Bowers and Wilkins, B&W AirPods for the plane. So that kind of takes over all this space. So that's my stuff. The reality is, the first thing I showed you fit in my hand is all I ever have with me. The plan was I keep that on my body, and then at work I take a big work bag and I would put these other 2 packs in the work bag along with, you know, papers or computer, whatever. And that slowly kind of whittled away. I never, like I said, I kind of after COVID and physical meetings, I used fewer and fewer fountain pens, and at one point I pulled them out, and I think it was to re-ink them and never put it back in. And then the other one, it's kind of the topic of the conversation, is I just never need that stuff. I use the notepad and pen at home, because that's where I'm doing my tasting notes for scotch. But I found that I can do, so the big concern was, is if you go from a big wallet to a small, what aren't you taking with you, right? And I found that, so there's some credit cards in there that aren't the daily use ones. We got the one that gets you the miles that we use for everything under the sun, and then a few kind of specialty use ones. Of the AAA card, which just look up the number on your phone, stuff like that. I can probably do even without my insurance cards that I keep in here, because you can just pull those numbers up on your phone. But I'm one of those, is that I just also, stuff that's really important, I don't want to trust to having a signal in my phone working and all that stuff. And that's, I tell you, side note, that kills me. All the people at the airport with the electronic boarding passes drives my wife nuts, because I want the paper. She goes, here, we got our boarding passes, and I'll still want to go to the machine, print them out. Why? Because there's no issue. You always got that one person, you got 40 people in line behind you, go to do the thing, and what, it doesn't work. All right, you got to make it larger, or my phone went to sleep, and I gotta, gotta do my, and it's like, you're really not saving any time at all. Anytime. And you're going on a big jet burning all sorts of fuel, so you can't tell me it's because of the environment you want to save one little piece of paper. Anyway, rant over. EDC. I was trying to decide if I'm jealous of the EDC guys or not. Because as I just say, I got this stuff. I kind of felt like I wanted to be part of the team, be part of the crowd, have a need for this stuff. Like, well, geez, if I need a flashlight, then that's cool. I got one with me. And if I happen to need a pair of pliers, I've got one with me. But you know what? I don't find myself needing that stuff. And that's where I'm at, is like, these guys, they show their ED. I don't know how much. It looks like every pocket is full. So first of all, I just don't really enjoy that feeling. That's what I was trying to get away from. But when they're pulling stuff off their belts and out of their pockets, and I always have this knife, and I have a backup knife, and I've got, this, and what I showed is a lot of what I see guys have, right? Well, then they show their watch. I watched the first episode. Fools over at the Shaving Cadre just got me back into watches, so I'm wearing a different watch every day now. I guess that's part of your EDC. It's something you're carrying around with you, but so are my glasses. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, some of these guys have a lot of stuff that they're pulling out of everywhere. And I kind of think, well, that's pretty cool. Like, I wish that I had realistic reason to need my Leatherman on, or on me every day, and that I know what tools are on it and how to get them out, and they wouldn't look brand new. Or my flashlight, I just, boy, last time I used that, the battery was low. I need a new battery in it. The only time I've used it is put the battery in to see how bright it is. Why? There's a flashlight on my phone. And, I hear people say, well, if you want to open boxes, that's a time that everybody uses their knife. And it's like, okay, well, at home, I do keep a knife out kind of on an end table that's used for most box openings. But if I'm not near it, we've got a kitchen drawer with like 4 pairs of scissors in it. There's scissors downstairs and all this. Like, I don't need a knife on my body for when Amazon shows up, which most of the time I just open by hand anyway. Yeah, if you're working somewhere and you got those plastic straps or whatever that go around the boxes that you can't hardly cut even with a sharp knife, that makes sense. But I'll tell you what, I also know that a pair of scissors tends to open those easier. And I know the guys will argue, well, I keep my knife so sharp. All right, cool, true. That's a reason for it. And plus, it looks cool if you take it out, and you cut your strap and all that, versus you're going to your desk drawer and getting a pair of scissors or whatever. But then, too, the pliers and the this and the that, I don't have. There's nothing that's urgent. That, like, like if something went wrong with any of our cars, I wouldn't have the first clue what to do, even if I had a pair of pliers and screwdrivers on me. If I'm at home, I've got a decent sized toolbox downstairs. I finally bought a small little bag to keep, see the camera's moving, it's just windy up here, I'm telling you. I keep some screwdrivers and nose pliers and a hammer up here. So again, I don't need any. I guess maybe it's a lot of work environment. I work in an office, so you don't need that stuff. And maybe a lot of people are working in places where that stuff comes in handy, and then that would make sense. And then I'm not sure if I'm jealous, because that stuff is cool, and it's kind of cool to have a reason to buy knives and this kind of stuff. But also that means you're probably doing a lot more manual labor. I don't know if I'm down for that. Or you live on like a farm or something like that, where you're out and about, and you're out and you gotta, have pliers to fix your fence somehow or whatever, or that kind of stuff. But I'll tell you, I don't know. And if all that's true, then that's cool and that makes sense. And then I think that's kind of neat. But again, at risk of like people yelling at me online, a lot of these guys I see do not look like they work like on a farm or in a factory or something. And it is just like a cool factor. And then it's like, I guess we all have hobbies. I guess I can't argue. I've got a hand coffee grinder in my office and stuff like that. I don't need that. But anyway, like I said, I guess I am a little bit jealous, or I wish I had a need or something like that, because I got this whole pack that I had to pull out of a dresser drawer to show you guys. So obviously it's not EDC, it's a never day carrier, or it's a TDC, travel day carrier, because I put in my headphones and put in a charging block and all that kind of stuff. And that was kind of my goal, is to always be able just to have free check bags, and so I don't have to carry anything, so I just walk on with this little thing and that's it. And I don't know, I kind of enjoy that. But that's it. Did I run out of topic before I ran out of coffee? Maybe. I'm avoiding some issues because I think also they might be a little bit more controversial. But I'll mention it. Whatever. It's my channel, right? You can all. I'll tell you what. We had the Zoom call for the cadre yesterday, and one topic that came up was different shaving forums. Because there's more than one on the interwebs. And one of the big differences being is that some people end up in the cadre because they've been booted from other places. And they find that on the cadre, one, you're allowed to have different opinions many things, even mention the names of other shaving forums, and you don't get banned or booted or warned or anything for stuff like that. And then everybody enjoys the civility of our conversations, and so they don't bring up stuff. And then the owners, I think for the most part, have been pretty good about this. That if, especially COVID, got things like, they were a little bit worried about people's stances on it, and just put out a thing saying, hey, we want to be one of the few forums that allows you to discuss this, because the realities of what's going on. Just have respect. To only talk about your own experiences, and let's not get political and stuff. And that's cool. And I think that's helpful, because that's why not everybody, that's why it's a place where people get to know each other. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I was just saying we ought to be able to talk about stuff and have different opinions without people saying, I'm not going to watch you at all anymore because you feel this way about this one thing. So anyway, the one thing that I also don't people that have to carry knives and say that they need self-defense. Maybe that's true for some folks, and in which case I thank my stars that I don't feel like I need a knife for protection. And those people, I think a huge bunch of them in reality have never been in a situation where they've used a knife or would have wished they had a knife or whatever, and then they just say, well, in the one case you need it, you'll be sorry you didn't have it. And I don't even know that that's true. Because one, you'd have to be pretty dang confident you're going to win. If you're whipping out a weapon on somebody, unless that's enough to scare them. But if it's not enough to scare them, and they can overpower you, and now they've got your weapon, that's a bad situation. And if you're super confident you could take this person with the weapon, wouldn't you be super confident you could take them without? And is that confidence well-founded? But anyway, back to my point about, and then that's where I'm saying everybody feels differently about self-defense and all this. But I'm like, where I live and where we go, if I felt concerned enough that I felt like I needed a weapon to protect myself, we would just not be there. I wouldn't be like, hey, this is kind of a sketchy place. Thank goodness I got my knife. Let's keep walking down the street and go do whatever. I'd be like, we're out of here. Like I said, I'm not a guy that can fight anyway. So for me saying, well, I need a knife for protection, it's like, I'll get my butt kicked anyway. And I think all the guys are probably a little bit not being honest with themselves about that one. You might have a knife, but dude, look at you. You've had just as many Big Macs as I have, and you ain't fighting anybody off with that little 5-inch blade or whatever. So anyway, so that's interesting. I did keep, before I got that Gerber, I did keep a knife in there just because that's what you're supposed to have for EDC, right? For cutting straps and this and that. But again, if it's not like right there, then it's like I might as well get a pair of scissors or whatever. And anyway, so that's about it with that. Maybe I'll give you an update. So if you just want to hear about EDC, I think that's about all I have to say about that. Is I kind of wish that I had a better reason for keeping this stuff around or carrying it with me all the time. I don't. Because it's cool it's just one more man hobby, right? I was gonna say it's a man hobby, but women, boy, they put the dudes everyday carry to shame with what they got in their purses, which that's just even funny to think about. These guys that are all proud about their everyday carry with their 7-8 items. It's like, that ain't nothing. You got snacks in there? You got some snacks? You got like a extra pair of pantyhose in your pocket, or anyway. Update on the watch thing. Got a couple since we talked, and I still don't know where I'm at. I think where I'm at is like, don't be worried about buying inexpensive watches. Most of them don't die right away. I like the idea of ones that are not battery powered but tend to be more expensive. But that's where I'm at. Here, I'll show you. This one, it's upside down. This one's a Skagen, not my favorite. It's funny, I showed a few to my wife. I got this one, and I forget the brand of the other one, also known for being very minimalistic kind of things. And I said, boy, I just really don't like these anymore. You know, I got these like, 25 to 30 years ago, 20 to 30 years ago. Different times, different styles. I don't think, like, I don't put it on. And I mean, I guess now it's growing on me now that it's on here. And there are some pretty popular watches that are this kind of minimalistic style. But what do? I don't want to get rid of it. So I came out wearing it. She goes, you're wearing one of your boring watches, huh? I said, well, what do I do? I mean, I put the effort into putting a battery in it, so then I got to use it. Just like I don't just shave with my favorite razor every day. Sometimes you got to pick this one. Oh, this hasn't been used for a while. I got to justify having it or get rid of it. It's even a little bit more different because razors, unless you're talking about like the $25 ones, you can probably sell at least for half of what you paid for. This kind of stuff, I don't think you can. Maybe you could sell it, but it wouldn't be for much. There would be no point. So anyway, they got me. I'm into watches. And the thing I'm trying to hold back on now is watch repair. Because a couple of the guys said, yeah, I really love watching these repair videos. Just fun to watch, and the detail, and it sure is. It's certainly interesting, the detail, and my favorite guy you watch is using like a macro lens and a microscope to shoot his videos. Super good video quality he puts out, and so you forget how small the things are. And then he, every now and again he'll show you like a screw he's holding in his hand, and it's like the quarter size of a grain of rice. You just remember that what you're working with there. And I don't remember which video I mentioned it on, but one of the watches I had to undo. I undid the wrong screw to move a kind of a band that was over the battery. When there was another screw I could have just loosened and slid it off, I undid the one that was more like the pivot for it. And so I had to get tweezers and this and that. I was super proud of myself of being able to get this minuscule screw back in place and get it working. I'm like, that was pretty satisfying. I could actually see really enjoying understanding the mechanics of a watch and fixing them. This guy buys non-functioning watches off of eBay and then gets them working again. And then who knows what, I don't know if he sells them or keeping or whatever, but just as a hobby, that would be really cool. And I keep watching these things. And I think for sure until I'm done with school, I don't want to go down that road, but I hope I never do. Just because, talk about putting everything else to shame. The tools, they say you can start with just a few simple tools, but then some of these repairs you have to do, you're making it so much harder on yourself. And like, he's got a machine for cleaning this, and tools for this one specific piece that's only on some watches to remove it. It would be, I think, multiple thousands of dollars to get a good basic setup where you could do most repairs, I think. And he went through the lubrications that you have to have, 3 different viscosities of oils that you use in doing watch repair. It was over $100 just to get those. Now they'll last forever because you're using a tenth of a drop on each thing you do. That's where we're at. All right. Thank you for joining me. Again, those of you that have said that you like this format, even if you're lying to me, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Again, if you've got any ideas, shout out for topics or whatever. I'll see you on the forum.